I will just continue. Anyone who maybe enter the room late can maybe look at the recording afterward. I will share in the Putra Blast. Okay, I'm going to do some activity which is quite simple. You can just go to slido.com and then enter the number #80 and 48. There's a few questions I'm going to ask and I want you to answer through that platform. Okay? So today we're going to look at the ticks of domestic animals, the epidemiology, immunity, treatment, and control. Okay, can you guys see the picture? Because it doesn't come out when I do the presenter mode.
Can, Doctor.
Okay, so now you guys can start to. Did you able to reach the slido.com and enter the code?
Can, Doctor.
Okay. It's just a bit annoying though. I thought it would be smooth. That's okay then. So can you name me the ectoparasite that you guys see on the slide? Ticks and fleas. Somebody answered ticks and fleas, some ticks and lice. So it's actually ticks and lice. So flea doesn't look like that. Lice is dorso-ventrally flattened, as you can see in the picture. Okay, next. So what are these ectoparasites? Maybe you guys can answer through the chat in my website as well. Flea and mice, yes, flea and mice, thank you. So next question, which of the mosquito are anopheles? A, B, or C? The answer is C, okay? So anopheles is can transmit white blood parasite. Yes, Plasmodium. Thank you. And then the last one, which flies cause maggot wound? A, B, or C? there is a B, okay, the acrosomia Bayesiana, and C is actually the manis, and A is our common supply. Okay, thanks guys. So we're going to continue with the lecture. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, sorry for that because I adopt some of the slide from last year class, which is BPM 3351. Okay, so as an introduction, tick distribution are all over the world, and then it can cause significant losses to farmers, especially in the naive population. And then ticks, parasitized livestock can be divided into soft ticks and hard ticks, which is soft tick is called agas, and the hard tick is called exodate. Okay. And then they are different in the structural, behavior, and physiology, as well as ecology, feeding, and the reproductive pattern. Okay, these two family of isodate and agacid, they are quite different in their morphology. As you know, the hard ticks are hardened. Okay, they have a scrotum on top of its body that covers part of its abdomen. While agacid, they have a leathery and uncharacterized abdomen, which is no scrotum. They are more soft when you touch it. And then the only part it can see is when we cannot look there. It's actually really hard to see the mouth parts for agacid because it's being covered by the body. But if you turn it upside down, you can see the mouth parts. Okay, so that's the general difference between hard ticks and soft ticks. Okay, in hard ticks, we have different genus. Okay, so the most important one are these. And then the other one more that need to be included is the Hemaphysalis, which is present in Asian and our country. So they are very different in their own morphology. I don't want to go through all of this again. I think you can go back to previous lecture and then have a look at this again. Just a bit revision for last lecture. And then it's agas. Agas we have three important ones, which is agas, onidotorus, and then orthobius. And then they are different in their life cycle as well, which is isodate, which is the hard tick. They have only one name stage, while agacid have up to 4 name stage. Okay. Okay. So what are the difference between hard ticks and soft ticks? Okay, maybe some of you can answer through the chat. So what are the difference in scrotum of isodate and agacid? The scrotum present in isodate? Yes. How about agas? There's no scrotum, right? Okay. Thank you for answering in the chat box. And then capitulum. How about the capitulum? Okay. I reveal you the answer lah. So capitulum we can see from the above or from the top. Why capitulum for agas only when we bila kita terbalikkan dia je lah baru kita dapat tengok. Okay, how about the name stage? How many name stage are present in isodate? Only one, yes, thank you. How about agas? Many, yeah, can be up to 4. Okay. How about the adult feeding time? Which one is longer? Isodate or agasate? Yes, isodate have longer feeding time, while agasate it feed for short time but banyak kali lah. So it goes to the host so many times, or it feeds for short time only. How about the female blood meal? Okay, so female in isodate is only, it feeds only for one time and then it lay eggs and die off. How about the agas? It feed for several times and then lay eggs for several times, and then after that baru dia mati lah. Okay, eggs laying. Of course, the isodate have only one egg laying events, while agasate have several. It's the same. And then which one have more eggs? Yes, isodate. Okay. This can be up to 8,000. For agasate is 400 to 500. Okay, thank you. Okay, for life cycle of isodate, we have 3 types, which is 1 host take, 2 host take, and also 3 host takes. Okay, can you give me an example of the 1 host take? So what genus can have the 1 host take life cycle? Yeah, Buphyllus. Okay, thank you. D. Rhipicephalus microplus. Okay. And then the 3 host take, there's a lot of ticks that have 3 host take. Okay, thank you. So I'm not going to repeat this again. You can go back to this lecture. Okay, so let's go to the pathogenic significance. Okay, for ticks infestation, the main thing is because it sucks blood, so it can cause anemia. So I want you to remember anemia and also the skin damage. That is the most important one. The other thing comes like secondary, for example, loss in production and other things lah. Okay, so main thing is skin damage and then blood loss. And then it can open the cut skin and prone it to myosis. So flies can come and then lay eggs. And then blood loss, very heavy, it can cause severe anemia and even death in some animals. And it also can cause severe pruritus that cause production loss. And in this case, in severe pruritus or animal that are very affected by the tick infestation, we call it tick worry. And then there are also loss of production, as I mentioned before, live weight gain might be reduced because of the tick infestation. And some tick can cause paralysis. There are some that are cause paralysis, which is, for example, exodus and also derma center. Okay, there are also indirect pathogenic significance, which is mainly is transmission of the disease or being a vector of these important blood transmitted diseases. So example, rickettsia, some viruses, protozoa, and tick parima. I think you guys know this already based on Dr. Ruben's lecture. So different ticks have the ability to transmit different pathogen. And then there are also hypersensitivity due to the tick saliva. Okay, I think I explained this before in previous lecture already. And then this disease outbreak due to the exotic or susceptible animal introduced to the non-endemic areas. Okay, pathogenic significance that are particular to the Rifficephalus sanguinus. For example, the problem in dog kennels, mainly there is high numbers that can occur in dogs because the ticks are present in the environment and also in the kennel itself, in the wall of the kennel, and then crack and crevices, the presence of this nymph of ticks they are ready to infect the dogs. So sometimes you may need the professional exterminator to control the ticks in the environment. Okay, epidemiological triad. I think as you guys know already, what are host, agent, and also environment. I think throughout this vet parasitology 2, you've been exposed to this already. So, so for host, the sex, age, and breed are very important. I will explain this later. And then the immunity towards the parasite as well, and the adverse effect of the hypersensitivity. For agent, different ticks have different specialization or characteristic that can be included in the agent factor. And then in general, ticks have the hairless organ and then transmit diseases and also an effective factor, and it can transmit the pathogen transovarial and transstadial. And then for environment, the management of the farm is really important, as well as management of the pets animal in case of the small animal. And then microclimate is also important for ticks. Okay, ticks depend very much in their microclimate. And then the humidity, warmth, and rainfall also play an important role as an environment factor. Okay, so for agent factor, as I mentioned before, different ticks according to genus and species, they have their own characteristics. Okay, for example, ambyloma have very long mouth part, so it can cause very painful bites. Okay, things like this. Then you need to read and go back to your previous lecture. And then in general, okay, hairless organ are special for ticks, and then this is used to identify hosts by using the carbon dioxide, temperature, and also humidity. And then it also can transmit diseases, and this is also different based on different ticks. And then it is an effective vector because it's fit for a long time. So it allows the pathogen to be transmitted effectively into the host. And another thing is transovarial and transstadial. Ticks are very special because it can transmit the pathogen for generation. And also transstadial means from one stage to another stage. It means that from larvae to nymph and then to adult ticks. Okay, so I have summarized the pathogen that can be transmitted by these ticks. Okay, then you can go through this and also their life cycle. Okay, different ticks have different pathogen that they can transmit especially. And also it's very important for you guys to also know that which ticks are the biological vector. and which ticks are the mechanical vector. Okay, so what's the difference of biological vector and mechanical vector? Maybe can answer in the chat. Okay, mechanical, the pathogen doesn't replicate in the vector. Okay, mechanical, there's no development stage in the vector. Yes, that's true. For example, okay, the very good example is Babesia. Okay, Babesia needs the Rhipicephalus to be their biological vector because some of the life cycle of the Babesia present in the Rhipicephalus sanguinus. Okay, we talk about nyamuk later during our flies lecture. Thank you. Okay, host factor. Okay, breed difference. Okay, local breed are more resistant towards the infestation compared to the imported breed lah. And then the age, young and older are more susceptible. And then for sex, female are more susceptible than the male. Maybe because female are more involved in the stress of pregnancy and also calving and menyusukan anak lah. Okay. And then there's also immunity toward the parasite, okay, which I'll explain later. And then adverse effect of hypersensitivity. This is due to the thick saliva. Okay, immunity to the ticks. Okay, actually, during ticks infestation, the body of the animal produce different kind of pathway, immunological pathway that can give some effect to the ticks to reduce tick infestation. Okay, so many studies have been done to study the pathway of immunity towards ticks. However, there are still debates on how exactly the immune response pathway towards the ticks. So there are various studies which say different kind of things that you guys have already. So there are some summary that I have here. So most work are using the lab animal to study the tick resistance. And then from their study, there's a role of different kind of things. One of them is the antibodies, where the IgG and the complement involved in the effective immunological response. And then for lymphocyte, the viable lymph node cell transfer express significant resistance. And then leukocyte, the basophil and eosinophil are major cells involved in the tick resistance. And it also involves histamine, granulocyte, associated pathway, and it involves both innate and acquired host defense mechanism. And it also involves the acquired immunity, which include the humoral and cellular immunoregulatory pathway. So what are the effects on ticks? So it can reduce the blood meal volume and then decrease the engorgement rate and prolong the duration of feeding for these ticks and diminish the production of the ova, reduce viability of the ova, inhibition of molting, and death of engorging ticks. So here are two papers I think that are easy for you to understand if you want to know more about the immunity towards ticks. Okay, you can go and have a read on these two papers. Okay, let's look at environment factor. So environment consists of the management factor, as well as the climate factor lah. Okay, so for management factor, there are various factors that can affect the tick infestation in an area. So one of them is poor husbandry, which may lead to higher infestation. Then there's also presence of bushes in the farm, okay, which is the hideout place for the larvae and also nymph. Okay, it's ready to infect the animal. And then in small animal, we also need to look at management factor. For example, the small animal or the pets have been managed outdoor, or there's sometimes stay in the house and sometimes in the outdoor. And then there's a walk in the park that can lead to tick encounter. Okay. For your final question, from our discussion, parasitologists, we're going to give you the applied question. Okay, so it's really important for you to look at the question carefully, and then try to think of, let's say they said semi-intensive farm. So try to think of what present in a small intensive farm, and what are certain factors, especially environment factor, that could lead to the parasitic diseases. Because if you answer very generally, okay, you will not get marked, because we really look at these things to actually give you marks, and then because it is an applied question. Okay, please pay attention to the question, read them carefully, read them twice or thrice to actually get the key point that we are looking for. And then another thing in question as well, let's say they said explain the epidemiological factor according to Malaysia condition. So, for example, question like this, we need to think of what is the climate of Malaysia, whether it's rainy season at that time or not, or things like this. Okay. Okay, so another climate factor for environment factor, for example, whether hot and humid, especially for our country, the temperature is suitable for development throughout the year. This is applied for almost all parasites. And then the distribution is governed mainly by rainfall. Okay, rainfall is very important for ticks infestation. There are a lot of time when it's rainy season. And then low humidity is lethal for ticks. Okay. And other factor, for example, quantity of fish, grass, and plant. That's why the bushes are really important. So if in the question have history that present of bushes, so you have in mind that it could be the ticks infestation. And then it's most active in the warm season. This is especially for temperate country. And then larval or nymph are active in milder temperature. Okay. Any questions so far, guys? Are you guys okay? Should I continue?
Okay, doctor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, for treatment and control, I've divided it into pets and also livestock. So for dogs and cats, we have the host targeted and also the environment. So for host targeted, we have the topical product, which could be the shampoo, spray, tip as well. And then there are, I think, several products available out there. And one of them is Revolution, Frontline, okay? And then it's really important to apply the topical pesticide if the animal is heavily infested, especially the sprays, tip, and powders. There's also flea tick scholars that does not work well because it's only regional, just cover around the neck, okay? So it's not covering the whole body. This is also similar like spot on, okay? When it's spot on, sometimes it doesn't go up to the bottom part of the body. So you can still have the ticks after few weeks of the treatment because the larvae and the nymph that are present at the bottom of the body will grow into adult. Okay, and the environment, pet premises can be treated with pesticide with residual activity, and then it's really important also to destruct the refugia on the property, especially of the larvae and the nymph that are present around the kennel house and also the walking path. And then for livestock, the same thing, we have host targeted and also the environment. And then for host targeted, we need to apply the pesticide on the animals, which can be sprays, dips, okay, powders, back scratches or ear tags. And it consists of mainly the ivermectin group, okay. And then the environment, same thing, okay, premises need to be treated with pesticides, and then we need to remove the larvae and also the nymphs from the around the barns and the house of the animals. Okay, so this is an example of some of the products that are available for small animal. Okay, we have also the ivermectin and the next guard, which the active ingredient is asofolena for ticks and also fleas as well. And we have Revolution and Advocate. I think you have seen this in the clinics. And then we also can remove the ticks, but actually how to remove it, you need to remove the mouth part as well. So you cannot leave the mouth parts. So that's why it's really important to have forceps or some kind of equipment. Because what happens when you leave the mouth part inside will lead to hypersensitivity reaction. Okay. And then for ticks identification is, I think is quite difficult, but up to genus, if I teach you before, I think you can differentiate them. Okay, up to genus. But most of the time, an expert is often required. I think that's all for ticks. You guys have any question? Any question you want to ask from the chat is okay as well. No from me, none from me, doctor. Okay. Do you guys want okay.
Doctor, I have a question.
Yes.
That's now regarding the prevention. I think for the cattle, you put their back scratches. So that one is like, do we like scratch the back of the cow, or is that like a name for something else?
Okay, I think this one have been used in the overseas. But how it looks like, I'm also not sure. Maybe I can get back to you. Who is
Sure,
there?
doctor. My name's Raja, doctor.
Okay, thank you, Raja.
Thank
Any
you,
other
doctor.
question?
None from me. That was the only one.
Okay, so do you guys understand what I told you about the final exam, right? Any question about that? So it's gonna be, we discussed, I think last week. It's gonna be 3 questions only, one from one of us. And then you need to answer all of them. It's an essay question. There's one question, doctor, is it true that next gut will cause neurological problem? And what should we do if client asks about whether the medicine is poisonous or not? Okay, so far from the next gut launching that have been, I think last year or last 2 years, they haven't told us about this problem. So I think it should be safe to be used in animal. So may I know, Lim, where did you get the claim of the neurological problem from? Is it have been, have been reported before or have been corrected?
Yeah, doctor. Actually, I saw some comments in Facebook, like the owners bought the next guard for their dogs, and then after the dog ate the next guard, the next day the dog undergo shivering or convulsion, and then the dog just died like that.
Is it the latest next guard or the old one?
The previous one, I think, not next guard Spectra, the old one.
Okay. So the launching I've been is the next guard Spectra. Sorry, I'm not aware of this problem. Maybe I can ask Dr. Maleka and get back to you.
Okay, thank you, doctor.
So does Lyme disease by ticks occur in Malaysia? So far, no report. Okay, but it's not impossible. It's because no one have been done a research on that. Okay. Any other question? Okay, another thing, if you are given a question on the blood parasite, and then you were asked to discuss on the epidemiological factor, it's no longer a epidemiological triad. So you need to also include the vector as a epidemiological factor as well. Okay. Do you want a 5-minute rest before we continue with mites? Is that okay?
Okay, doctor.
I'm gonna grab a drink sekejap. Okay, thank you. Okay, welcome back everyone. Can we start? Okay.
Yes, okay.
Okay, Raja, I'm gonna answer your question now. So the back scratcher is actually looks like the the automated car washer.
Yes, doctor.
Yeah, that big thing. So it's actually a roller where the cattle can go and then get their back being scratched lah. And there's actually a manual removal of the ectoparasite.
Uh,
Mm,
okay. Thank you,
okay,
doctor.
okay. Okay, so let's move to the mites of veterinary importance, the pathogenic significance, and also the control. Okay. Where are the slides not moving? Okay, so ticks and mites are different. Okay, it's really important for you guys to know the difference of ticks and mites. Okay, ticks are macroscopic, or you can see by naked eyes, but the mites are microscopic, so you can't really see with your naked eyes. And then ticks are blood-feeding parasite. It means that it sucks blood. However, mites can feed on the cellular debris or blood in case of there is a wound. Okay, so they do not, inject the skin and suck blood, but it can feed on blood whenever there is availability of blood from the wound. There's annotation request from Amira Noelmi.
Doktor, sorry saya tertekan.
Okay, saya tak tahu apa ni. Thank you. Okay, and then okay, ticks are also ventrally flattened, just like the lice as well. And then mites are globus to giga shape. Okay, and then in ticks there is hairless organ that help is to find its host. However, is absent in mites. Yeah, and then the mouth parts are more or less similar. However, the mites hypostome is unarmed and hidden. Okay, while in ticks it's obvious. Okay, you can really see them. I think the next slide. I actually don't know what happened when I'm sharing. I couldn't press next slide. Sorry guys. Okay, as shown in this picture, okay, for ticks, you can actually see the hypostome. It's really big, and it is governed by deep pulps at the side, while hypostome in mites are hidden. It's hidden here. Okay. So there are a few important genus in mites that you need to know. Okay. So for dogs and cats, we have Sarcoptes and Notoaddress. Notoaddress is the ear mites for cats only. And then we have Otodactys, Chilatilla, and Demodex. The color means something, okay? So the red color means is superficial, superficial burrowing mites. Green, the superficial mites, and blue, the intrafollicular mites, which is the Demodex. And grey, which means that you can see by naked eyes, which are the red mites. Okay. Okay, for ruminant, we have Sarcoptes, Sauroptes, Coreoptes, and also Demodex. And in pigs, we have Sarcoptes and also Demodex. Okay, so mites, their life cycle is quite straightforward. Okay, and then it's have larva, nymphs, and also the adult. And the nymphs can be up to 3 stages. And most of the ectoparasite mites spend their entire life in intimate contact with their host. Okay. And then mite infestation is also known as acariasis. Sorry guys, there's a courier coming. Okay, so mange is the severe dermatitis due to the mite infestation. So you can call mite infestation either acariasis and also mange. Okay. So mites can cause direct damage to the epidermis, which lead to the inflammation and crusting. Okay, crusts are really important characteristic of mites infestation. And then it can also cause cutaneous hypersensitivity reaction. And then it also can cause loss of blood and other fluids. Okay. And then also it can transmit some of the pathogens. Okay. Okay. So the general pathogenic effect from mite infestation is primarily the skin lesion. And then you can also see inflammation and hypersensitivity reaction due to the mites antigen. Okay. And then there is a loss of blood or fluid. And then there is mechanical or biological transmission of the pathogen, just like the ticks infestation. Okay, so in my lecture slide, I will also include specific pathogenesis or pathogenic significance for certain mites that are very important for you to know. So for this one, Sarcoptes KB, okay, Sarcoptes KB is a burrowing mite. So the tunneling and feeding activities of the mite can cause irritation, which further leads to inflammation, exudation, crusting, alopecia, and hyperkeratosis. Okay, it can cause intense pruritus, which lead to self-trauma, and then increase the hyperdermatitis. Okay, the hypersensitivity reaction to the mite secretory and excretory product. Okay, and then lots of foreign antigenic materials, for example, dead mites, molted skin of the various stages, and also eggshells. These are the things that lead to the hypersensitivity reaction. Okay, so this skin biopsy show the crusted scabies showing mites in the epidermis with hyperkeratosis and inflammation. Okay, that's lots of inflammatory cells. Okay. Next. Okay. Okay, Sauroptes ovis. Okay, Sauroptes is one of the mites for ruminants. Okay. The mite feeding activities can cause pruritus, then self-mutilation, and also scalp formation. And then the presence of papules, crust, excoriation, and also lichenification. Lichenification is the increase of the volume of the skin stratum, okay. And then there's also presence of secondary degeneration in most cases, and it can lead to in the untreated cough, okay, weight loss, decreases in blood pressure, and increases susceptibility to other diseases can occur. It's very important for you to know that parasites normally don't cause direct death to the animal, except when there is secondary bacterial infection involved. Okay. And we also have a source of contaminating, which is mites in the external layer, which can cause spreading of bacteria can also be misstated and fighting. And then lead to rupture of the epithelial membrane. This is common in the rabbits. Okay. And then we also have Parasito. Okay, Parasito is also the mites of the ruminants. And then here comes the serious exudation and cleaning of the skin characteristically at the base of the hair. Okay. And then the infestations spread others or them and limbs. And also it's very important for mites to diagnose mite infestation. You can see the characteristic of where the alopecia is. Okay. So some mites have the preference area where for example this one is actually at the base of the hair. Okay. The association angles signs and start and spread to the back, root of the hair and the rest of the body. And also called as flamage, as it affects the skin of the sensitive areas. And the image of the sputum is a suspect that causes infertility in the nerves. Okay, that's also like this picture. It's present in the foot. And then for causes, the irritation and alopecia can occur at the hot region. And the causes may act restlessness. Okay. Okay, so other things, okay, it can cause medical irritation and hypersensitivity reaction, and then result in intense irritation, pruritus, diagnosis based on each of the months, it is really hard for you to memorize them all. So, if I were you, I would go ahead and look at what are the most common for all of the months, and then just focus on that, and then from there you can easily expand if you want to answer that question. So that's how you want to study the mind sensation or pathogenesis. Possible to memorize and analyze is quite difficult. Okay, for the next pathogenesis, that's hereditary predisposition to the hemostatic damage. Okay, so it's more common in the certain breeds, especially Canadians, Great Dane, English Bulldog, Alaskan Malamute, and Arban. Okay, and then there's a presence of immunosuppression of T cells, which reduces T cell function, allowing mice to proliferate. Okay, mice may produce factor and some T cell function as well. And then there are target immunosuppression, for example, the post-steroid, many disease dogs, or endometriosis. Diagnosis. Okay, I see this. So there is a lot of technical problem. So for diagnosis, in any cases, like in any necrotic diseases, it's really important for you also know the clinical sign. Okay. The flow for diagnosis, as I don't answer questions, we really the clinical signs, history, and then diagnosis, that method. Okay. Don't forget the clinical sign and history, because most of the students don't always jump into the diagnostic method. Okay. So the diagnosis is going to look at the signs, symptoms, and history. Is the presence of manifestation before the farm, or another dog in the house, and then skin reaction. Okay. So other different diagnoses for manifestation may be eczema or dermatitis. Okay. So the most common method for diagnosis is to use skin chemotherapy. And again, it's very common to have negative skin chemotherapy. And if you use your scanning and it's negative, you can float them using sugar solution. So what you do is you separate and then float the scraping using the sugar solution. And then when you do this, the mice will float on top. That's like your filtration. And then you put them using cover slip, and then they would put slide again and then look at the microscope. And then there's also ELISA for specific disease. I could use in some cases. Okay. So for diagnosis I also put some important things, such as important is done. Okay, so usually our dog ears and elicit violence and pressure respond behind him. Okay, so that relax is very suggestive of these scabies. And then for scabies, it's really important also to do first scraping, because as you know, this is a growing mites. Okay, so keep scraping, you can keep it grayish, and then make them to try to scrape maybe wire. And then demonstration from one mice is very necessary. And then bone mice, as you know, the morphology, their leg, their posterior leg will not extend over its body. Okay, this is inside the body. So and their legs are stout. Okay, very small stout kind of mites. And then you can also see population on how those mice and human mites, because as this is zoonotic mites. Okay. Analysis of the described is easier than sarcoids. Which processes usually fixated in the system as many mites. Okay. And then the others are known as the C like this is a process. Okay, start body. Okay, now we have got this. Remember the process also mites. Okay, maybe to say race is fine mites. Okay, most of them some mites are under scabs. And then the system is scabs by using immunes. Is either nuclear or moisturizer. It can be used for temperature. And they can conduct ladder, nerves, or sorts of animals. Okay, so this the most important characteristic is the pedipalps. Okay, the pedipalps is long and have segment. Okay. And then the secretion is random is the margin of the session under the grass. Okay, so why do we need to scrape at the margin of the session but not in the middle? Anyone know? Because as so actually why you need to scrape at the margin of the session? Yes, it's because my mites are okay. Because as you know, they're already dead skin, so they might be feeding on the edge. Okay. So that's why we need to scrap at the edge of the vegetation. Okay, for this, okay, it's black reddish, exhibit found in the Indiana, and then you can do autoscopic examination visualizing mites in the Indiana, or you can also do microscopic examination of the ears. Okay. And then for the products, okay, you can do scraping. So first you is to squeeze the skin to extrude the light from the heavy skin. Okay. And then observing only a few mice is not diagnostic because of some flora. However, finding the many mice and many stages is indicative of the modern image. Another thing is history of evaluation of success animal is also useful in cases of the deaths. Another thing you can also do trichogram, which is examination of the hair and roots, and the hair work of the follicle and containing and examining mice. Okay. So this is how you trichogram, plot the hair, and then look at the microscope. For this picture, show the microflex spores. Okay, so it's been used to diagnose the microflex as well. And this is just an example of this is a hair where you can see the products. Okay. So the etymological bias is the same, so we have halogens and environment. Okay, so for infant factor, okay, transmission is quite close connected. So because mice cannot jump, so it needs very close contact from one host to another for transmission. And then the life cycle on glucose. And then there's growing and growing mice. And specific infant factor for each mice is 1 to 2 as well. Okay. So that's a characteristics of some Okay, phosphorus factor. That's an innate contact of those. And then the use of successful or colonization rules and underlying diseases, for example, pregnant animals, or like animals are successful for the that's really as well. Colonization rules, for example, low nutrition can lead to stress and development to the presence of microception. And then the animals, for example, animals and animal form that have exists this manifestation also can benefit further. And then the life structure, for example, is the most likely to survive, and then easily affected by diagnosis. And then the immunosuppression is the success of the analysis, as I mentioned before. Some doctor with immunodeficiency genetically contracted, okay, or also high chance of getting generalized diagnosis infection. Okay, for sarcoidosis, okay, it's some variation. However, there are still distinct species. Okay. Sarcoidosis can reduce the broken of the human skin, there is also bad. And also when microbes can survive around the human skin, they seem unable to breathe on the members. Okay, so we detect close contact with infested dogs is necessary to maintain human manifestation. There's also reports for transfer from fox to wolf, dogs, rabbit to monkey, goats to man, and dogs to man. So another environment factor, mice usually are in rainy season or colder months. And then some mice can survive in forests, for example, in low temperature and humidity, usually in the farmhouse, okay, that resistance. And also in housing, they usually when and temperatures is farm, they can stay there for some time. And then management of the forest is really important as well. So overcrowding of the system can lead to severe problems like microception. Okay, so some food treatment, imagine ivermectin or trust. And then there's also presence of hormone, which is the active ingredient is hormones. Okay. It's really important for you to know that exercise should have rest. Okay. So if you use ivermectin alone for treatment, you might not get success. Because what happens is ivermectin is mobilized in the adipose tissue. So ivermectin takes some time for it to get to the mice. So what's important is you can use arbitrage in combination with ivermectin. So arbitrage, you get rid of grass, and then also attack on the superficial mites, and then the ivermectin will take over the level of the mites. Okay. So it's very important to use combination of drugs. Okay, so in small animal, we have ivermectin, Medscar, and then lithium, which is ivermectin, SSNM process. Okay, for subsaccharides, specific treatment should be initiated if suspected despite negative traits. As it's really hard to get success because it's overwhelming mites. Okay. And then more organisms in household should be treated. Okay. And then the dogs, you can use ivermectin because it's an effective hypertonic. Okay. And then the trigger consists of ivermectin and midwintergrade. And then there's also parasites. Okay. The saline sulfur can be used with inhalation as resolved. And then animals should also be treated. And for livestock, we need to treat with pesticides, sweeping, and nutrients, and can also use ivermectin and ivermectin injectables. Okay, to address this gap, it's really important to treat all pets in the household. You can see, you can use your pesticides and canine cases. And use ivermectin as well. Okay, you can use ivermectin in your drops just now. Now, for pneumococcal, ivermectin to the drop of choice, and may give you orally because you avoid injection. And or doses is recommended for small birds. So ivermectin will see improvement, especially in small birds and pneumococcal. Also, these leaves in ivermectin apply dialysis in nearly every baby in soil locally. Occurrences, pesticide applied to affected areas causing problem. And then usually in the care of influenza substances when you get an changing. So in this case, it's an infection during winter for the country. Okay, for the other there's localized and also generalized form. The localized form have good prognosis and likely sacrifice in 8 weeks with or without the treatment. For generalized form, it requires significant treatment or immunosuppressive antibiotics. Relapses can occur and lead to forces of underlying disease condition. Okay, because the study is not over, so it's really important to see if there is underlying diseases that prove that the animal is the diagnosis. So for treatment, you can use neutrals, retreatment, immunoclass, and then you can use extra levels of resistant chemicals. What does I mean by extra levels? Have you come across this system? Extra levels, what does it mean? longer and with high doses. Okay. That what it means by drug abuse. And then treatment can also be time-consuming and requires commitment from the owners. Okay, for every we have many doctors, analysis and analysis. If for the analysis study, in heavy infection can be reduced anemia and reduce weight and impression and mice can also affect humans. So for diagnosis, you can collect mice for the analysis or choose feeding and mice and one and rat are feeding. So treatment and control prevent transmission to the house and avoid pesticides or the analysis. For analysis, so you can reduce the egg production by eggs and food production in mucus and birds infested 50,000 mice lose 6% of blood volume day and spread frogs and disease. Okay, and mice really bites human. Okay, diagnosis mice are 1 ml, the size of previous mice, and will be around 10 ml of hands. Okay, and treatment ventilation to the house, and then pesticide treatment of the environment also works. Okay, that's usually all together. Okay, this is just for your information that diagnostic different between analysis and analysis because they have same size, okay, and they are like color. So analysis of the analysis is dependent on the chances are much stronger than the analysis. While for the analysis of the meaning are accurate and limited, and the chances have much less than the analysis. I'm sorry, I don't have to check this one. Okay, that's all guys. You guys have any question? How was this one? Very nice. Did you do have marks already? Do you know your marks already? Oh no, yeah, okay. Why is it hard? Because it's high, is it? Yeah, I forgot that it's really important for you to also study Parasite 1 notes together with Parasite 2. Because most of the time they also ask the Parasite 1, especially like life cycle. Okay, life cycle is really important. I think when you test the results test, so they are assessing meaning from Parasite 1 as well. So when you study, you need to study the Parasite 1 together with the Parasite 2. Because it's a package. So please remind Melissa, because she said there will be tests in 2 to 3 weeks from the first one. Okay. When? 18 December. Okay. I will put up the assignment maybe next week, but it will be very simple assignment because it's only 5%. So it's this assignment. Yeah. So just I will let know when I put it up. Okay. And then for my test, I haven't decided yet what would be the format, but I will let you know later. Okay, let's have some question or not that we can finish our class. Why do we keep taking my again during the night time? Because it's the active time. They're feeding during night. Okay. Any other question? I think as long as you know what is stated and what is mine, and know how to differentiate them is really important. Then you can answer the question nicely. Because most of the time tutors have been difficulty in differentiating my sources. It could be used in clusters can be used in cats with lower dose. Yes, there is an alternative. You can use as well in window. Okay. I think that's all. Any question? Yes.
Usually high dose.
Yeah.
When apply the temperature, that means next time you get that drop.
You mean resistant, right? Okay. So that's why I mean like there's a high chance of resistant. However, this one for the model that is only being used for small animal. Okay. So far resistance mainly happen in the livestock. Okay. So for small animal, usually use them very carefully. So is it possible to get a anti-mycete that lasts for on to the cat at one time? No, I wouldn't suggest that. Better wait for the subcut first, and then let's see if you still have them, you can get another subcut up to 3 or up to 6 times. Okay, and then maybe try 4 on, or you can use 4 on first, and then wait for the effect and see. And then after that, you can discuss medicine subcut. It's up to you. Okay. But in case of recommended resistance, you can use because recommended one is I think 3 times injection for a few weeks. But you can use up to 6 times. Okay. If you think there is some resistance problem. And then resistance, another thing is you can also increase the dosage. If the normal dosage doesn't work, okay. Or you can use combination of drugs, but not the same drug, different medication. Okay. Okay, I think we have another lecture. Thank you everyone. Please don't forget to